Oh, it's the Doug Show, and we're on the air with Butch Hartman.
Hey, Doug Show. Is it that's your new last name, Doug Show?
Yeah, my last name Show. Tenaple's too hard to spell.
No, Tenaple's cool. It's like that's a unique name. You can't forget that name. I love that name.
Yeah, it's difficult. Just the second N is capital, so it screws everybody up.
Butch, there's two N's.
Yeah, two N's. Second N's capital. It's two words, no space.
Like Tennessee.
It's like if your first name was Har and your last name was Man.
Or Hartman.
Man. So I love you so much. I just admire you, and everything about you I like. But first question I have is, you have to be working out, right? You have a workout routine.
I do have a workout routine. How did you know that?
Because you're meaty and snappy looking. So
wow. It's just the camera. It's just the way that the video camera is. This is all a lie.
It's fooling me well. What's your workout routine? What do you do?
Oh, I've been doing this for a long time. Because I read somewhere many years ago that most successful people get up 3 hours before they have to be to work. And so I was like, I'm going to get up. Especially when I got Fairly Odd Parents, I realized I've got to be the first one in, last one out. You know, when you run a show, you want to be a good example. So I get up, I read my Bible, and then I work out. I do like 40, 45 minutes. I do push-ups, sit-ups. I don't do anything crazy. I just do kind of like push-ups, sit-ups, chest, bike a little bit. And then I get done with that and do that 4 or 5 times a week.
How much time in the scripture are you spending? This is daily?
Daily, yeah.
How much time in the scripture, or what's your routine for that? What do you go in order, or do you just grab what you love?
It's funny. I'll lay in my chair for a while and just kind of meditate on some scripture, and I just kind of, I like to pray and just kind of think about what Jesus, has for me that day, and just how much he loves me, which I encourage everybody to do, by the way.
Yeah, Jesus loves you guys, and that's an important thing that I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about anymore, is kind of the truth of it all. The big picture of it all is, do you want to know that your creator loves you?
No, you do. And the great thing is, he's given all of us such a creative mind. Every single one of us has a mind and a vision that he's given us to do and to accomplish. And many people get bogged down with the fact that the Bible says not to compare yourself among yourselves. Like, don't compare yourself to
absolutely.
But we can't help it as human beings. It's like, oh, I want to do what that guy does or what that girl does, especially in the Instagram world we live in today. And so it's very hard to understand what your vision is and to do that as well as you can do it. I spend about maybe half an hour in the Bible every morning, and then I get on with my day. But I meditate on it at my heart all day long.
How long? So half hour in the Bible. How long are you working out?
45 minutes.
45 minutes, and
make breakfast.
So the thing that I'm getting at here is, I knew already by just the way you walked around Nickelodeon. We worked together while I was on Cat Scratch. You were doing Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom.
Sure.
You were a tight, buckled down, go guy.
That's some of the kinder things that have been said about me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll talk about harassment too, and just kind of online bitching that goes on a lot also. But because I get some of that too. That's just being a public figure now. I'm not dismissing the pain and the anger and just the angst that just gets barraged at you. But the discipline, when I look at your IMDb, and your IMDb is plastered with just a guy that didn't stop from 1986. Where did that work ethic come from?
I think it came from my dad. My dad was always a very hardworking guy. I come from Detroit. My dad was in the auto industry.
Right. And, blue collar brother.
Blue collar brother, exactly, man. But I didn't realize it at the time. But it was funny that you kind of grew up in a house like that, because my parents were divorced. My dad worked his tail off to support the family, because we live with my dad. My mom and dad. My mom left us to be raised by my father.
Yeah.
So my dad just worked his butt off, and that kind of gets instilled in you. It's kind of the seeds. Whatever environment you grow up in, you're going to become like, whether you want to or not. And so, I think the work ethic came from my dad. And so but I also knew this too.
I got my work ethic from my dad. He swung a hammer. He was a carpenter his whole life.
There you go. But
also pain and suffering of divorce.
Yes. Yeah, that's hard, man. I have 3 brothers. I'm the oldest of 4. And so when my parents got divorced, we kind of just had to, kind of band together and take care of things. And, you know, divorce is not fun for anybody. That's why I really feel bad for anybody who has to go through a divorce.
Yeah.
You know, my wife and I've been married one time to one woman. I'm still married. We're going on 28 years.
Yeah. Julianne, lovely. She's lovely.
Thank you. But I swore I would never get divorced because I came from that situation. I have 2 daughters. I wouldn't want to put them through that. And so no matter what, once we became Christians, it became about Christ and not about us. We got out of the way.
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody else too. If you can get out of the way, I mean, when I say you, I mean, you know, yourself, because, you know, Jesus says, you want to follow me, you deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow me. The self part's where we get all hung up on ourselves. I got offended. You can't talk to me that way. Just get out of yourself. You're gonna have a much happier life.
We will destroy our own marriage left up to us.
Oh,
and God puts you on a different ground where you're not, you know, because my wife and I, we've been married, we'll be 30 years this June. And we have 4 kids. You have 2 lovely daughters. There is a temptation to fight against this person who is in your own house, your spouse. And God demands that you lower yourself, consider yourself second to this other person. And that for us is the key to marital harmony, because you can't, if you're fighting to keep yourself number one, or winning an argument or being proud or whatever, that's not going to work in the Holy of Holies of your own house, that inner circle.
You know, it just ends up, you know, pride is such a huge thing for everybody, especially men.
Yeah.
And I had to learn a long time ago, because I saw a lot of people that I grew up with get destroyed by pride. And again, I fight with it all the time. Everybody does. Nobody's
100%. Pride is number one. Number one problem.
Exactly, it is. But I'm certainly not perfect either. But then you get to Hollywood, and you've really got to throw your pride out the door. I mean, you have to have a certain level of pride and confidence to see the vision through, because you face so many obstacles. But then you've really got to go like, look, maybe I'm not right. Maybe I can listen to these writers. Maybe I can listen to this artist here who's trying to help me. You know, maybe I can play the game a little bit. But that's a whole different ball game.
It's also the other side of the blue collar pride. You're a self-made man. You're a hard worker. You have money. You have success. You're one of the most prolific creators in animation. You've always been that. How do you not take that home and say, this is the Butch Hartman show?
Oh, geez. Dude, you know, I've done that. And it's very kind of you to say all those things. But you know, when I was younger, you know, really, you know, there were moments in my life where I was cocky when I was younger, like in college and stuff like that. And you're an idiot kid in college. I mean, me anyway. But you get cocky and then you fall and you realize I'm not going to be that way anymore. Especially when you get a shot like at a show like a Fairly Odd Parents or a Danny Phantom, where you have a chance to keep your show going and make an impression and employ people. My whole goal was about employing people. I've got a crew. They need jobs. This is great. They can at least work for me. I know I'll treat them well, but I need more shows to do it. And that's why I was always fighting for more shows.
Yeah. I loved your team. I would poach your team anytime I could. Because
thank you, though. I appreciate
that special time at Nickelodeon. Man.
It's different now. It's
a mess now. And I want to talk to you a little bit about online. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can, because we have to do another show. Because I want to do a deeper dive and keep it fun and stuff.
We'll just change clothes.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I used to go hang in with Steven Silver and Ben Balistreri, who are your designers. They did some design work for you. And
super talented guys.
Incredible guys. I would just sit there because I was going mad over on Cat Scratch. And I would just come over to your department and hang. And I just go, guys, teach me how to draw, you know, and 2 great, incredible talents. These guys are incredible talents. I also remember, this is to the people who say, you know, you're a Christian and Christians hate gays. We both had Amber, a trans, on our show.
Amber was it still is a wonderful human being.
Wonderful human being. It was never an issue.
I don't care who or what anybody is, as long as they're talented and can help my show. That's all I care about.
It was a meritocracy. I saw just normal, talented Black writers on your show. I'd hang out with Steve Marmel on your show. It was just like, it didn't matter. Democrat, Republican, Christian, atheist, trans, gay, Black, white. it really was like, can you do the job? Oh, you can. Here's a bunch of work and money, and welcome to the team.
No kidding. And by the way, that's why I think everybody should be treated. And I've always wanted to be treated with respect. I do my best to treat everybody with respect. I know you do as well.
Yeah.
And so, that's just how you have to do it. Because at the end of the day, as a show creator, you're like, man, I need someone to do this drawing. Is there anybody out there? I'm already, anybody that can draw will do a great job.
Yeah.
So
we'll run so much work through you. You won't. And they were amazing at that time. So talented. I think coming out of the 90s animation boom, and a lot of us were influenced by both your work, like you influenced each other, but also like kind of the John K. early 90s starting up. You worked for Fred Siebert, right? That was the shorts program, Frederator.
Fred's a dear friend of mine. Fred brought me in with Fairly Odd Parents. I was on Johnny Bravo at Cartoon Network.
That's right. And he had a shorts program. He left Hanna-Barbera, because I had pitched to him at Hanna-Barbera. Then he came and started that shorts program, and Fairly Odd Parents was one of them. Also, Seth MacFarlane's, he had like a zoo thing, an animal thing.
I directed that one. It's called Zoo Dates. Yeah.
That is so funny. It looked like Family Guy with animals.
It was a very funny short. Seth and I worked on Johnny Bravo for quite some time, and we became great friends. And
that's Van Partable's show. I'm good friends with his brother Leo, a Christian man, great guys. What a great. I use Scott Morse, who worked on Cow and Chicken on Cat Scratch.
I love Scott. In fact, Scott and I worked on a show we were trying to pitch for a while, and I know Scott. Scott's an amazing artist. He's a great artist.
Oh, dude, he's over at Pixar now. What a freaking hammer!
Is he at Pixar? Yeah.
What a hammer.
I get so really put in my place these days. I follow a ton of artists on Instagram, and when you think you can draw, you see an artist on Instagram, and you're like, I can't. I don't deserve.
Yeah, I go to Comic-Con now, and there's 18-year-olds that draw circles around me, and just hundreds of them, and they can't get work. I'm just like, I quit.
I'm working with 3 young people right now. They're in their 20s. I'm working on a kid's book with them, and so talented. And I'm just like, I thank God that I'm kind of the supervisor, because I don't. If I had to compete against them, I'd be very worried.
So let me real quick do a little bit of quick maintenance, right? For those of you guys that want to know more about Butch, I've done a ton of links down below. You have so many projects and things to see. It would take me the rest of the show to talk about them all, but you've got the Hobby Kids TV with YouTube, where you're doing shorts with them. You have a commission site where people want to buy a commission from you and have him do the number of characters that you want. You can go to a website. We have the link down there. They can look up, Vision Possible is kind of your career coaching thing that you have. You have so many businesses. What in the hell? What the hell, man? This guy has done everything in the world, and you're still just pounding it.
Why do you think I work out every day? I gotta stay in shape. No, you know what it is, man? It's like I go out. I've only got one life, and I tell my daughters this all the time. We only have one life. I'm not telling you have to go out there and be exhausted every day, but make sure you at least try everything you've ever wanted to do, because if you do that, you're going to be 85 years old and not have any regrets. I know so many people that I've met over the course of my life, and they were living paycheck to paycheck. They're in their 60s and stuff like that. And I just encourage people, if you can, just give it a try now, because, at least you can say you gave it a try. If it doesn't work, oh well.
Yeah. You don't want your failure. You don't want your lack of success to have anything to do with you not trying hard enough.
I know. I say opportunities are like comets, because they're really cool, but they don't come around very often.
Yeah.
And it might be a long time till you see another one. So please get out there and seize every opportunity.
So when that door opens, you're helping run people through it. Do you think, is there a work ethic problem with the kids these days? I just don't see people grinding it. One of my favorite memories of you is at Nickelodeon. You'd be going down the stairs from your office, and you had a pile this deep of exposure sheets. It was a show, and you were doing notes on your own, X sheets. I know other show creators that just kind of phoned it in. That ain't you. It was pound it, make it excellent all day, all night.
It's funny that you noticed that, because I don't think anybody ever did. I'd be walking out on a Friday night with a big pile of exposure sheets because I had a show to fix.
Yep.
And everyone would go, "Hey, Butch, happy Friday." I would say, "Friday means nothing to me. It's just another day I got to go to work." But you know what? It's that extra time. It's that extra time you put in now. Because when I go to Comic-Cons now and kids come up to me, young people come up and they say, "Hey, man, I loved your show. It meant the world to me. You changed my childhood." They're shaking, they're nervous. And it's a little extra time that you put in that really can mean the difference between a joke that works, a piece of writing that works, and one that doesn't work. This timing has to be correct, so the story will play correctly, so it'll reach somebody's heart.
And Fairly Odd Parents had the tightest editing, like just bam, 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 bam. You know what I mean? Dude, it was whiplash.
I had great people, but I was always the last word. I was like, "Man, I got to fix this." I edited, I did, had an amazing staff, but at the end of the day, it was me, because I didn't want to lose that gig, because I'd lost gigs in the past and I didn't want to lose anymore. So Fairly Odd Parents kind of came out of desperation at the beginning anyway. Yeah.
I'm so impressed with it. And I love kind of the work ethic is inspiring. And I feel like there's kindred, Seth MacFarlane's another one, Justin Roiland, all those guys, just seeing great art. John Kay is another one, seeing great artists, people pound it and doing great work is what I hope other people notice, because they keep thinking like, how do I get an agent? As if there's this workaround. I got to do some other thing besides just like pound and try everything, because I want to show people. You also have a comic, the 3 O'Clock Club, that was kickstarted. So I'm just saying, you didn't just sit.
It was not Kickstarter.
It was not Kickstarted. Okay, it's just it's just a comic that you're doing yourself.
Indie comic. Yep.
But you're spreading out across so many mediums, and when YouTube opens up, you see it as an opportunity. You have over 1 million. You have an insane amount of subs. Hey, by the way, sub to my channel, guys. I only have 13,000 subs, so throw me some love.
We're not at 1 million yet. We're at 788. We're climbing. We're doing okay. But,
close enough. That's 1 million in Dougland.
Exactly. Yeah, 10 years ago, just for inflation. Exactly. But that's a whole different ballgame, because that's like having your own movie studio, and you can do whatever you want. But you got to, again, if you want to get serious about it, there's editors, there's people that want to help you come up with ideas. There's things you got to buy. I have to have a studio set up here in my office to where we can just put a camera up, green screen wall, do whatever. But then it comes down to editing and storytelling, and then putting it up. Also, you got to know the algorithm, how many times a post a week. It's a whole different world. It really is. You love YouTube, and it's a great opportunity to reach more people.
What is the deal? So what's the deal with the Hobby Kids TV? Because I remember you were doing some kind of there was a big like .com investor interested in doing a family overall with you. I don't know if it was like 2-3 years ago. Is that?
There's a company called Pocket Watch.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. And they're working with a guy who used to work at Nickelodeon named Albie Hecht. And
I remember Albie Hecht, yep.
Albie's the guy who picked up Fairly Odd Parents back at Nickelodeon. And Albie and I are dear friends. And Albie said, "Hey, you want to come over here and check this out?" So I did. And they're a great company. And they were asking me if I wanted to help them with some cartoons. I said, of course. So we met the family that they're partnered with called the Hobby Kids. That's the name of their channel.
Okay.
And there's three live action boys that do fun little boy stuff. And they have like 3 million subscribers. They're huge. Yeah. But they wanted me to turn them into a cartoon. So I made them into animals. And their one kid's name is, and the parents are very smart. They protect their kids. They won't let their names be released. So they have code names. The boys are called Hobby Pig, Hobby Frog, and Hobby Bear. So I, of course, turned them into a pig, a frog, and a bear. We have
I saw a clip of it. Very well designed. We have a link down below if you guys want to.
This is Hobby Frog right there. You see that right there?
A toy. It's that's the golden ring right there. Very well designed, Butch. Good job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But anyway, we did the Hobby Kids as a and the thing about it was we did it really, really fast. If I had like this much time to do Fairly Odd Parents, I had this much time to do Hobby Kids. Yeah. But for a YouTube cartoon, I'm very, very pleased with it. It's a wonderful
very high quality from what I see on YouTube.
Thank you. And it did huge. I mean, our first episode got like 1 million views in like a week. We just launched an episode a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that got 1 million views in a week. The kids love it. It's a great show, and the audience of the Hobby Kids really responds well to it. So that was another venture too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So let's talk a little more about the faith thing, because I know we've covered it. Everyone knows, not everyone knows, but people should know you're a brother, you're a Christian, and that's hardcore to you. I can tell you're a hardcore Christian, which means you're a Christian. And
I am pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Tell me, I want to talk, because to me, I don't know how to put it, but Christians get in animation, and we work in a secular industry. You're not doing Christian animation, but you're a Christian in animation.
Right.
And what do you do with, you're going to get hostility. You're going to get doxxed and made fun of and mocked and called a scam artist and called dirtbag. A lot of that has to do with your faith. Just, you simply said, I'm a Christian. What do you do with that?
You know, it's tricky because you're a human being and you have feelings, of course. But at the end of the day, Jesus said in Matthew 5:11, "Blessed are you when they revile and curse you for my name's sake." But for just as the world, before the world hated you, it hated me. But great is your reward in heaven. So I've got that memorized, right? But listen, he already warned us the world was going to hate us. I don't set out to have anybody hate me or dislike me. I want to be like everybody else does. And listen, if someone says something bad, I can't stop them. But I will say this. Sometimes when people say bad things, they're doing it under a false name and no face. They'll have like a fake name.
Oh, they only do it under a false name to me.
Right. So I go, who's got the integrity? My face and my name are out there, and yours isn't.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's that kind of stuff. Look, I've had good things and bad things said about me even before the internet was a thing. Yeah. So I just look at it. You cannot let, I'll tell this to any visionary out there, you cannot let the opinions of others stop you. You just can't.
Amen.
You know, Wright brothers. Hey, the Wright brothers. We're going to invent this flying machine. Yeah, right. You know, and then look where we are now. Steve Jobs. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
You know,
the jealousy in animation just by you being successful is I've seen professionals bash you. I'm like, wait a minute. This, are you sure this is about Butch and not about you? Because it's always like the ones that couldn't quite, they're going like, look at that guy. I go, yeah, I've looked at him. He works his butt off. What's your excuse? And somehow
I was fortunate to land at Nickelodeon at a time we were buying stuff. And listen, people think it was easy for me to get all my shows sold. I sold Fairly Odd Parents, which was really hard. And then they thought, well, Fairly Odd Parents must be super easy to get the other shows sold. It was just as hard.
Yeah, Danny, no one's going to give you a Danny Phantom just for Fairly Odd Parents, because you still pitch stuff and they say no to that one, no to that one, no to that one, no to that one. They're not saying, welcome, bring in your mediocre stuff because you did Fairly Odd Parents. You also did Tough Puppy, which, you know, wasn't as big as Danny Phantom, but you made more episodes. And so it it had better ratings, right?
The Tough Puppy hit the airwaves with a 10 rating. It was huge. Or it was a 7 rating. 7,
yeah.
So big rating at the time. That was a big rating. And they did 3 seasons of it. I had a blast making it. It was one of the funniest shows I ever made. We had such a great voice cast on that show. Yeah. And just great, clever episodes. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I was blessed to be able to do it. And it's got a legion of fans out there, you know. Any chance I get to build a world to be creative. By the way, I always say Tough Puppy was Zootopia before Zootopia came out.
Absolutely.
All animal crime show. And I was like, hey, but that's the easy idea to think of.
It's just well made, and it's rock solid entertainment. But still, it's not like people are going to walk you in the door and say, we'll pick up any idea you bring in because you did Fairly Odd Parents. You got to pitch and you got to hear no a lot.
You do. And by the way, when I pitched, the day I pitched Tough Puppy, I pitched 3 other shows at the same time. I pitched 4 shows that I liked better than Tough Puppy.
Yeah, that happened to me all the time. Yeah.
And I had a Tough Puppy poster off to the side. It was called Stud Puppy at the time. You can't, but if you Google the word Stud Puppy, a lot of other things come up. So don't do that.
I like Stud Puppy better.
Yeah, I did too, but I did change it. Anyway, they were like, I was like, how about these other 3 shows? They're like, how about that one over there? And that's the one they ended up picking up. So hey, we'll take it.
I bring in ideas. They're like, they don't care that I made Earthworm Jim. They're like, no. Would you like a free water? Would you like they always give you the free water for the pitch, like you're homeless.
We have an HDMI cable to hook up. I want to tell people out there too. You know, listen, it's I get a lot of people coming to me and emailing me all the time about pitching a show. And I'm so thrilled you want to pitch a show. I am so thrilled. But you really need some experience in the industry first, I think, as you're learning to get your show together, because it's just going to help you once you get your show. You'll be able to make it a better show with some experience behind you.
Sure, sure. And where are you at on, give an overview of what you pitch? Are you a bring in a phone book pitch, or you bring in, 5 pieces of art and 5 paragraphs of writing? Because there's 2 methods to pitching, I think.
Yeah. I warn against the phone book. I tell people don't bring a phone book in, because no one's going to look at it. No one has time for it. I'm like, look, I always say, look, see these posters on my wall here, like this Fairly Odd Parents poster back here.
Yeah.
I say, look, you bring in a big drawing like that, like a movie poster, because that makes it real. And you sit that down on a chair, and then you talk about your show. And as you're talking, they can look at that picture.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple smaller pictures, and maybe 1 page of writing, as you maybe walk in with 3 pieces of paper and the poster. And then you should be able to, if your show is solid enough, you should be able to sell it just with your words and a couple pictures, because they'll get it really quick.
In 15 minutes.
Easy. And we were doing an exercise here the other day where I had some young people here, and I said, who's brave enough to come up pitch their show? So this one guy came up on stage to pitch the show to the audience. He agreed to do it. And it was really hard for him, because it took him like 20 minutes to explain his show. And at the end, nobody understood it. No one got it. And I said, hey, man, you got to have it. I just even that, the training of that is a very tricky thing for people, but it can be done if you practice.
Yeah. So you recommend practicing. I like the idea of 1 image, because it really focuses and clarifies it. It makes you boil it down to, what is this thing?
I would tell people,
the log line really is what the big thing is,
I tell people all the time, you tell me a story in 1 picture. Like, that's impossible. It's impossible. I say, well, look at the Jaws poster. Right now, you can picture the Jaws poster. I go, that tells you that story. You don't know anything else, the Jaws poster. Yeah. And I'm like, what is your Jaws poster? That's what you need to have.
Yeah. So what about another big question that I hear all the time is balancing work and family life. You're a family man, but you're also a workaholic. So where do you do the cutoff? Do you have a hard cutoff for the work each day or weekends or anything like that?
No, my family works with me, so that helps a lot. But you know what? The fortunate thing for me is I'm an artist. I'm not like a cabinet maker, so I can like take my iPad anywhere I want, and I can draw on my chair, at the table, whatever. I kind of go all day long, just kind of goofing around. I do have steady work hours. Now, I'm kind of a 9 to 6 guy. I work all day.
Sure.
But my family, we're a very close family. I never lost any time with my daughters. I made that a point. So I would work hard all day, and I'd come home and play with them for 3 or 4 hours, then go back to work till 2 in the morning at my house. And then I would get up in the morning, and go back and do it again. So family is vital to me. I don't really have any other hobbies. It's my family and my work, and that's pretty much it. I wish I could say
no time for TV.
No, there's nothing good on TV anymore. I don't like.
You're not streaming. You're not streaming all of Breaking Bad.
So I watch YouTube and Netflix a lot, and that's about it.
Yeah, on demand stuff. I listen to audio books and podcasts so I can ink while I listen, and that's about all I'm going to get for the moment. I do watch Survivor.
That's good. I tell artists all the time, an artist's favorite thing to do, and you're an artist, you can understand this, put the headphones in and to sit and just draw and be in your safe space. But if you want to be a business person too, you got to take the headphones out and pick your head up and start making relationships with people too. And that will separate you from being an artist.
That is one thing where I'm out here in Tennessee, and it really cuts me off from a lot of the business. It's much more slowed down here. It's much more just me at a table. I might call my agent every once in a while, or they may set me up a pitch out in Hollywood. That's just, I'm not going to move back out there. But I get it about the business side, which a lot of artists don't understand, because you're dealing with intellectual property. You're dealing with contracts. You're dealing with big picture. How do you run a crew? What crew is going to do this? Those are huge management concerns that they don't teach you in art school. You may learn you learn to collaborate.
Most of the things I learned, I was already an artist when I got my shows, when I sold the shows, but then I had to learn how to be a networker and a business person talking to the network, because you're going to have a lot of network meetings with people, and you're going to your show might be doing well. I want to see how they deal with you. I mean, these network people are human beings like anybody else, and they want to have a good day at work. You don't want to be the difficult one that they're working with, they're not going to want to work with you. They're going to pick your show up because they like you, and they like to work with you. Plus, if your show's doing well, so much the better. But you know what? Like a lot of times, I got to get a show picked up because even though it wasn't the greatest idea in the world, they liked me and liked working with me.
What's the meanest thing you've done to a crew member where looking back, you go, I probably should have been a little less of my dad on
oh my gosh, dude. There's probably so many. I don't know.
Because I've gone in and just destroyed a crew member's work and just go, that was, in hindsight, I go, that was dumb.
I think there was a time when I was very young when I got somebody's drawing and I didn't like it. And I didn't know whose it was on my desk. And I kind of walked around going, who drew this really terrible drawing, sort of thing. And then when I actually found the person, I handled it badly. I was young and stupid, and you learn stuff like that.
So you get softer with age, right? Isn't your management style softer?
God, I hope so. Yeah, I would like to think it is. I hope it is.
I just remember younger, it was way more brutal. Just way
you
more.
Or
like,
me?
Me.
Oh,
me. Yeah. Because I think the artistry that I learned was how to be a little more supportive to the artist's style. And when I started out, it was much more like just cut and dry, nuts and bolts, everyone pound through it. And now I don't like doing that as much. I just think, these are people, and
I was a master of the art of sarcasm, and I thought I was a genius because I was such a great sarcastic, quote unquote, comedian. And I realized that wasn't the way to approach people. And so I've definitely learned through trial and error, a lot of error, not to do that anymore.
Yeah, never use sarcasm with your crew or your kids.
Yeah, exactly. Just be supportive, and that's it. Move on.
Yeah. And I think especially today, I think kids are a little softer. I think they need a little more something.
I haven't worked with a ton of people in their 20s yet. I mean, when I finished Nickelodeon in 2018, a lot of people, I had some young people, really good crew. I was working on Bunsen as a Beast, and we had some great young people. And I thrive with young people because I learn so much from them, and I really want to make sure that I keep growing. I'm sure I'm like you. I practice every day. So do you still practice drawing every day?
Oh, I've drawn every day of my life. I'm inking this today for my comic books. See that?
Dude, that's awesome, dude. Dude, you're an amazing artist. Now what comic is that?
This is Bigfoot Bill. This is a crowdfunding thing that I do. This is the second book. Cool. So my first book, I raised 200 grand. This next one launches at the end of February. If you want to throw the link out in February, I'll,
Let me know, dude. I just might do that. Send me the link.
I'll throw Tabasco in my eyes.
I was inking this today.
Oh, I'll get that up there. Oh, that's good. See that? Look, spotted blacks. I can see it from here.
Yeah, there you go. Just some elf stuff.
That's good.
I'm so doing that kind of thing.
I love it. I love artists, man. I can relate to you better than perhaps a whole lot of people can. I know what's going on in your head. I know what you do. To draw, be a dad, be a Christian, make a show. I get it.
Here's a Hulk that I did.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, coming out of the shadows in a swamp.
Yeah, very good.
Why would I draw that? I don't even know.
You did it is the main thing. Did you pencil that first?
I penciled it first.
You're not doing a Kim Jong-G or whatever his name is and just throwing it down.
Oh my God! Or Jim Lee. You know who Jim Lee is?
Oh, yeah.
The guy.
Oh, he's the best.
That guy is unbelievable. And then there's Alex Ross. You know Alex Ross, right?
I know Alex Ross too. Yeah, the watercolor guy is just. But he does a lot of reference. I mean, I don't want to use that as an excuse because he's flat out a Hammer reference or not. The guy can. Alex Ross and Jim Lee too. These are so. Who are some of your favorite? Let's talk about your favorite comic artists. What are your top three?
There's different eras. Back in the day, I used to love a guy named Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I used to love him. Yep. And I used to love John Byrne, of course.
Yep.
And I used to love, right now, I love Jim Lee. I would probably say there's a guy named Ed McGuinness who I love too.
Yep.
Ed McGuinness.
Yep, I do.
And Frank Quitely, I love him as well.
Yeah, I'm a big, just because we're animators, Jeff Smith's Bone. I'm still just way into Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
I've always loved Mike Mignola is probably my ¡1 all time because I just dig his style. It's all style, and I'm in love with it. He can do no wrong to me.
Yeah. You know who else is great? The guy who did Watchmen, Dave Giffen. Is that
Gibbon. Yeah, Gibbon.
That guy's unreal.
Yeah, to do, and that Watchmen book is a 9-panel book, 9 panels per page. So he's doing every panel like this big with Moore's writing just heavy text all around it. I'm like, what did you have how could you even draw it all? He's got all backgrounds and tiny people, and they're just really straightforward. He's not fancy. He's straightforward.
No, I know, and George Perez is like that too. George Perez will draw a drawing with 100 characters in it, all super detailed, even like the individual hairs. And you're like, how in God's name do these people do this?
So you're super style, man. Butch Hartman is super style. You have the Butch Hartman style. Are you do you admire other people's style, or are you just into the guy that kind of straightforwards it without a lot of style?
Oh, good question. I would probably say, I mean, I'm into story more than anything. If someone's got a great story, I'm all over the story. You are as well. But if you can get great art on top of the story, then I'm all yours. I mean, like, wow, this guy. Like when I read Watchmen back in the '80s, that's how you and I, of course, are from that era.
Yep.
It was pre-internet. There was one book a month. You had to wait every month to get the Watchmen book, and the story's great, but the art on top of it can just make such a great. It can affect your life. It really can. Like, man, I want to draw like this person. I want to be like this.
And 40 years, 30 years have passed, and Watchmen still stands atop the heap. I love Maus because of story. I love Jeff Smith because of story. I love Bill Watterson because of story. You see
let's talk about Bill Watterson for a second here, because I am a Bill Watterson freak. I love Calvin and Hobbes, especially the Sunday strips with the watercolor in them and stuff. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't touch them. I try and I can't touch them. I use him as warm up.
You're a very talented individual, sir. And,
I try and ape that guy all the time. His forests and his ink work. I do use his exact equipment, the Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush, size 3, and the ink and brush. I got a lot of that start just by mimicking him.
I use a lot of these brush pens. These Pentel.
The Pentel. Yep.
Pentels are great. I love the tip on this thing, and I was drawing with zebra pens for a while too. The zebra from Japan.
Yep.
Those are great. And then I have my the iPad iPencil as well.
Yep.
Which is So, but and digital, I'm very spoiled by digital now, because you don't run out of.
It's evil. It's evil, but your style actually works so much better with the heavy line and pulling straights, and it's very graphic. That I think it's not like you were doing this wiggly brush weight thing before. It's much more, I would say your style is, it reminds me a lot more of UPA and Hanna-Barbera, in the 60s. Would you say that's an inspiration, or am I off from that? Because it's very graphic.
Thank you. Those are the first cartoons I ever saw when I was the first cartoon I ever saw. I remember seeing, there were two. It was the Jungle Book in the movie theater, the Jungle Book, and then the animated one. And then Wacky Races, Hanna-Barbera Wacky Races, and Flintstones and Secret Squirrel and all those cartoons.
Yeah, big edges, just edges and the shapes and stuff that came out of that. It really reminds me a lot of your work and then you have but you still have, and maybe this also came from that era, your tight pose to pose timing. I've never seen an in-between in any of your animation. I just see poses and a settle, antic settle and a settle.
It's an antic move squash. That's what it's 2-4-2. I called it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I changed a lot. I remember when I was first starting to time stuff, when I got to Nickelodeon, I was like, one of the producers there said, "Well, you don't forget your normal pause." And I went, "What's the normal pause?"
Because Fairly Odd Parents doesn't have a pause.
Doesn't have a pause. The normal pause is line of dialogue, pause. Or the line of dialogue. There was like a standard 9-frame pause. And I timed my whole show out with that normal pause. And I went, man, my show is 10 minutes longer than it needs to be. But I had this whole thing figured out to the T. Oh, the normal pause. I went, I'm taking that out. So I took the 9 frames down to like 1 frame.
Yeah. And that was all, that timing came from Chuck Jones. A character would speak, he'd pause. Another character would speak and pause. And yours just has like, but. But it's so frantic. And that's what I loved about it, though. I go, I've never seen this. This guy is like on cocaine.
Well, thank you. I wasn't, but thank you.
Yeah, no, I just, I go, he has ratcheted this thing up through the roof. It is so frantic. And
you're the best, man. Thank you. Yeah, we had such a good time on that. I always push the right to. I'm like, guys, this show, Fairly Odd Parents, is like a pit you throw jokes into. I said, do not stop throwing jokes into every episode.
Yeah.
We would write that show until we were done recording it. We would like write jokes. Add a joke, writers got a joke, and we'd be in the recording booth. Actors, can we add something here? We'd always be adding something funny if we could.
Yeah, it's funny and it's great. I love the voices of the two main odd parents, but the guy, the little blue-haired guy, is the funniest voice. What's his name again? Cosmo, yeah. No, but the actor's name.
Well, Cosmo has green hair, and it's Darren Norris.
Darren Norris, because I tried him out on a cartoon later at Cartoon Network, and he didn't give me that magic. There's something about his voice that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and it makes me laugh every time he opens his mouth.
It was great because we got to evolve that character, and we had the gift of time on that show. They actually let us keep making episodes to develop the character out. And that really helped out a lot. It's like almost like Homer Simpson, how he was so different at the beginning and then just became this complete blithering idiot as the show went on. And that's kind of what happened.
We used, I got Dan Castellaneta did Earthworm Jim. It's one of the few other animated voices he's done.
Did he really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, he was a great, what a great talent. I don't know if you'd ever do a voice for me now. Hey, it's been 45 minutes. We're going to wrap this show up because you've got other stuff to do. I'd love to have you back on if you want to sit and hang. Anytime,
bro. Thanks for the invitation. And just everybody out there, just keep pushing for your dream because it will happen.
What's the number one thing you want people to click on of your work? What's the big thing that you're pushing this week? What do you want them to take a look at?
I will go to my Instagram at Butch Hartman. You can go over there.
we didn't even put the Instagram.
No, I got the Instagram.
Hold on, my assistant here, Reagan. He got it.
All social media.
Mr. Phillips has buried, but guys. Number one, go hit Instagram and follow Butch Hartman, and you'll get to see
thank you guys.
a steady stream of art.
I'm having a contest this week. I want you guys to draw me. And if you can draw me well enough, or if I'm picking my favorite one on Saturday, you get a free Fairly Odd Parents sign.
They're already all calling you the evil Papa John's guy. So
I'm the evil Papa John's guy?
Evil Papa John's.
Oh, no. How did that happen?
Yeah, I got another one. I got a Justin Bateman one too in here. So guys, draw him up, throw him out on Instagram.
Oh, Jason! I get Jason Bateman all the time.
Jason Bateman. There you go. I like it. I just like hanging with a fellow animator. I feel right at home with you, guys. Like the show, subscribe. God bless you all. Final words, Butch, is yours.
Just thanks, Doug, for having me on. And hey, everybody out there, don't forget to, like I said, my YouTube channel, Art Gives You Power, use it wisely.
Yeah, to whom much is given, much can
be
required.
There it is.
This has been The Doug Show.